Hi everybody, we're back for another one. I'm Ray. We have a set of heads for our rat rod here that we've been working on. The process is very time consuming. The motor we're using is just a 305, so I didn't think it was really that much of a gain to go with the aftermarket heads and stuff because of the 305 being such a small engine. It's not pushing a lot of horsepower. We're not asking it to push a lot of horsepower. We're just trying to get some decent performance out of it that's going to be streetable. So it does have a cam in it, not a great big one, but it does have a cam. It does have some little tricks of the trade that we've done to it, but what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show you the heads and what we've done to the heads for the 305 build. So if Teresa can turn the camera a little bit. As you'll see here, obviously this one's got our valves in it, so this one's ready to bolt in. This is the mate to this head that I have apart. This head here is basically the same head, this set here, and this is bare casting. We haven't done anything to these ones here at all. You can see that they still have the real small valves in them. They still have the exhaust ports that haven't been touched. They still have the screw-in studs and everything, or the press-in studs. And you can also see that the intake valves, or the intake ports, have not had anything done to them. Now, I'll rotate this one here. Try to put a comparison here for you all. As you can see, this here has been made much bigger to add more flow through the intake side. They've been gasket matched and brought back out. As you can see here, they've had quite a bit of grinding done to these. Now for a grinder, it doesn't take a whole lot of a grinder. This is just an air grinder here. This happens to be a 45, but it don't have to be. With just a Christmas tree type of bit. You can use just a little straight one like this one. This house also has a different bit in it. Bits come in a variety of shapes and sizes. As you can see, this kit here has got a lot of them in it. And then I got all these extra ones that are real little for getting up in like corners and stuff like that. And you don't have to have all these to do this project. Basically what we're doing is we're taking a small combustion chambered head and we're opening it up so it'll breathe and gain a little bit of horsepower is basically what we're doing here. Now these, I'm told that the 305 heads are 58cc combustion chambers. So that also adds to the compression, which compression builds horsepower. We all know that. So if you look at these, they're shaped just a little bit different. These ones here actually came off of a crate engine, 305 crate that was put into a pickup that we pulled from the junkyard. And these heads here came off of a early 80s square body Chevy C10 pickup. So these ones here are the ones I chose to use. They're just more of what I've been familiar with using in the past. And this set here, although they pretty much are the same head, just have a different casting number on them. But the fronts here are shaped a little different. I thought these ones here probably gave me a little bit more than these, because these ones here actually look smaller than these do if you look in here and here. And I'm told that these ones are 53cc chambers. So with these being 53cc's with true flat tops, sure we'll have to run premium fuel in it, but we should gain a little bit of horsepower with these. So I showed you basically the difference between here and there on the intake. Now let's look at the exhaust. Let's see if we can show here. You can see these ones have been opened up a little bit more, and I don't know if you can see up inside here or not, but these have been smoothed out and they have been opened up a little bit more so they'll flow better. And you might be able to see that a little bit better right here. If I can get that there, or you can see it in this here. You can see the difference where these here have been cut down a little bit to add more air down through where they'll flow into the valves area. So that's the difference in the stock head versus the modified head. Now what I'll do is I'll bring this up here a little bit closer to this one, and this one's done. It's ready to be installed. As you can see, it's got the valves in it, one piece stainless steel valves. We don't use the stock GM valves even on these type of rebuilds because they're a two-piece valve that have been welded together basically, and they will break at that weld and drop the valve down into the combustion chamber, hits the piston, makes a big mess. Trust me, it gets very expensive. You don't want to go there. So if you're going to go this route, I highly recommend using brand new valves, one-piece stainless valves. So you can't see it here on this head, but you can see where we've hogged out around here on both the intake and the exhaust. Now be careful doing that with these 305s because there's not a lot of meat in there because they're kind of a thin head, but there is room in there to do some work too. So you can gain some numbers on these with the flow.
More smoothing maybe.
Yeah, Teresa, you're right. More smoothing them out than anything. You're not really trying to gain big flow numbers. You're never going to get 200 plus cc's out of these. They're just too thin for that. But if you can get the flow to come in a lot smoother and work better, you're going to probably gain some horsepower where you should be able to feel it. Again, we got these here. This been smoothed out and rounded back, gasket matched, they say. You'll also see that we don't have no studs in this one. We've pulled the studs out. This is what they look like, and there's a few different ways of doing this. You can take and stack up a bunch of the rocker arm balls onto the studs like so, and then put a nut on there, and basically what you're doing is putting a spacer in here and then twisting the nut down and pulling it out that way. You can stack washers. That works. A little piece of tubing, a piece of pipe, a black pipe, that would probably work. Basically whatever it takes to pull these out. Now what you're going to find that happens is that these break off. Like this one here. You can see that it's been broken off. There's just a little bit of thread there. It's supposed to look like this one. More like this, if you can see. Okay, so you can see obviously that one there is busted off. So what I do is I'll take a 3/8 coarse thread grade 8, cut the head off, and I'll weld it on there, and then I'll use the grade 8 nuts, and again use a piece of tubing or something, a piece of black pipe, put over it, and then stack either washers or the pivot balls on there, and then put a nut on there, and it will come out. They're sometimes not very easy, but they will come out. And once we get them out, then what we do is chamfer the top of the hole, and I just use a regular countersink like this, and I chamfer those down just a little bit. Just get a little chamfer in there. You don't have to get too crazy with it. And then we use this tool here, which, as you can see, has just a too high. Okay, here if I can. If you can see here, has just a smooth hole. This one here has got a threaded hole in it, and this fits in there. So basically what you do then is you put this in one hole, and then you run your tap that matches this size here, and you work it in there. Now this is your screw-in stud. As you can see, this is the fine thread. This goes up, and this is the coarse thread. So this matches all that. And then when you're get this all done, that'll screw right in there, and that's what you have. So to install these, what I do is I use 2 nuts. I put them down on here, thread one down like so. Take the second one, put it on like this, and I take 2 wrenches and I twist them together, lock them in. And then I use, this is Loctite. You can use any type of thread locker you want, but I like this style because it's thick, it's pasty. It's kind of like a chapstick tube basically. And then you just rub that into your threads all the way around, gets a good paste in there, and that not only seals the threads up, so because basically some of these are actually in the runner, like this one right here is this here. You can actually come in here and you can feel the bottom of that hole right here. It's in the runner, so you don't want to suck any air down through that, otherwise you'll have a vacuum leak. So this stuff here will put a pasty substance in there, and when you put it in there and crank it down, then just wipe off the extra. The red will hold it in there as a permanent hold, and it'll seal it. So there you go with that. Now this one here is actually in the water jacket, so you want to make sure that that one there is sealed just like the bottom one is sealed. Otherwise you're going to be leaking antifreeze out of them. So that covers the studs, and I'll turn this one here. As you can see, this one's got all the studs, all the screw-in studs installed. It also has the valves, the springs, retainers, and clips. So we showed you the valves. This is the springs. We ordered all new springs for these and the new tops for them, retainers. We also have the umbrella style seals that go right over these. So when you put your valve in from the bottom, these go right through, and they seal real well. So assembly lube, don't forget to put assembly lube on your valves when you bring them through your guides. A good assembly lube. I use the Red Line. You can use anything you want. I'm not endorsed by any of these products, people, so don't feel that this one's better than that one. It's just stuff that I've used in the past. I've had good luck with it, and it's available. I can go to a parts store and I can pick this up off the shelf and I can use it. Just like this here, I can pick it up off the shelf and I have it in my hands. Before you get too crazy about assembling everything, you want to make sure you lap your valves in. Again, valve lapping compound. This is Permatex. Any of your automotive stores should have it. Even some of your hardware stores should carry it even. Easy to find. Just make sure you lap them in good, get a good lap on them, clean everything all up real good, and then you can go ahead and start assembling your heads. The heads, this set of heads right here, from the time they were taken off and I had started cleaning on them and did the grinding and all that, I probably have, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe 20 hours into the set of heads approximately. I never timed them, how much hours I got into them or anything like that, because I work on them a little bit here and a little bit there. But you know, your time is worth something too. I know that, I understand that, but without spending the big dollars, these heads here will probably flow on a 305 just about as well as anything else that you could put on it as far as an aftermarket head goes. it would be pretty easy to basically flood the engine with air and fuel. And I understand the more fuel in, the more air in, the more power you make. But it's only a little 305, so just how much power is able to be coming out of it. And I know, I'm going to hear it in the comments. A lot of guys say, why even fool me with a 305? Guys, for a dependable motor that you're just going to put on the street in a rat rod, a 305 is going to be a good little motor. They're dependable. Sure, they don't crank out no 500-600 horse or more, but you don't need that kind of horsepower in a rat rod that only weighs a couple thousand pounds. So you can go out and have good fun with this. It's not going to break the bank. Sure, you got a little bit invested in springs and valves and stuff like that, but you don't have big dollars invested into a set of heads that really aren't going to give you a whole lot of an advantage either. So, because especially with these little combustion chambers, you're actually going to gain compression with these. Compression makes horsepower. If you were to open these up, your compression's going to be way down and you're going to have a smogger type engine. So, you know, basically they're cleaned up. This one's ready to go on right now. We're going to go ahead and get this one here ready, and on the next video we'll probably have one of these already installed. We'll have the other one put together, and you'll be able to see us put it on the engine and get it ready to go. If you have any questions, don't feel ashamed or nothing. Just throw a comment down there, good, bad. If you have any thoughts that we may be able to improve on, throw that comment down there. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, share them with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks.